Snake, these enhanced soldiers seem to be using some sort of device to cling to the walls.
Doesn't look like they have spikes or suction cups.
This is only a guess, but I think their gloves and boots might have some mechanism that employs van der Waals force. It's a type of mutual interaction that occurs between two electrically neutral particles. Geckos use it to crawl up walls and across ceilings.
Oh, that kind of gecko. But those things are a hell of a lot lighter than a human.
Well, around 10 years ago, I read about an experiment where they reportedly suspended an object weighing 100 grams using a 5mm square piece of adhesive tape. Assuming the technology's advanced since then, I don't see why these guys couldn't be climbing all over the walls.
Otacon, what about Vamp? How he ran up that support pillar in the big shell. You think that's how he did it?
You mean, did he have this technology? He could have, yeah.
So it wasn't that he had some freak supernatural powers.
Hey, when technology starts to test the limits of our imagination, what's the difference?
Otacon, seriously, what's with all these ads?
Oh, you mean Battlefield ads.
Battlefield ads? Is that what they're called?
On the street, anyway. It's what people are calling any ad having to do with the war economy. Privatizing the military has inevitably created intense competition for market share among PMCs and defense industries. Everybody wants to expand their market, get a bigger piece of the pie, so they're churning out truckloads of ads, exactly like the ones we see every day.
But war's not something you can just write off.
It may seem that way, but the war economy is an enormous driving force in the world today. There are people whose livelihoods depend on those ads. Same goes for internet ads, TV commercials.
The world's gone mad. And us with it.
I know. But that's reality. The militia fighting against Praying Mantis are mercenaries belonging to a small-scale local PMC. Most of them are from around here, but it was more than ethnic ties that motivated them to pick up their guns. The country suffers from chronic high unemployment. There are lots of households just barely scraping by. Kids that grow up in that environment don't have the chance to get a decent education. And there aren't enough opportunities for them to go abroad and find work either. PMCs are one of the few options they have to earn a living.
And for that, they go out and risk their necks.
It's not a respectable trade by any measure. Still, for some reason, I can't bring myself to condemn them for it. It's complicated, you know? During the Cold War, this region was the site of irregular proxy wars fought between the two superpowers. Now that it's over, the ethnic conflicts that were simmering beneath the surface have erupted into full-scale civil wars. Even today, the political situation is fragile. The land and its people have been ravaged and exhausted by years of constant warfare. With food scarce and the economy near collapse, the country's barely being kept afloat by aid from developed nations. And despite all that, the current regime is still hiring PMCs to put down the anti-government militia, or terrorists as they call them. I know security's a big issue, but come on.
If you've got the money to buy bullets, you should be using it to buy your people bread.
That's how a lot of people would put it, yes.
Makes sense to me.
I created the Mark II to provide you with mission support. It's outfitted with a full suite of support functions. It can transport weapons and items, assess your condition, conduct recon, provide map data, and analyze the state of battle.
Tell me something, Otacon. What possessed you to name it Metal Gear Mk.ll?
I named it that so I'd never forget that I was the one who designed Rex. But the Mark II's no weapon of mass destruction. It's a remote mobile terminal designed solely to support you. I want to show the world that technology can work wonders when it's used the right way. I'll bet that 50 years from now, robot buddies like the Mark II will be a vital part of our society. Even now, 30% of all snipers use robot spotters. I don't think it's quite what Asimov imagined, but we may already be living in the caves of steel.